Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take time to take live questions, but we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure if those questions get sent in, that they get answered properly in a video. So I gather up those unused questions, and we address them here a little bit later in the day in companion videos. So let's not waste any time and let's get caught up on the questions that we didn't get around to on this morning's show. That was Tuesday, September the 10th, a little bit earlier today. Let's get caught up on those questions now. All right. And the first one we're going to start getting caught up on comes to us from Silver Screen Heroes, who writes, why did Halloween 2018 why is Halloween called just Halloween? Why not? I mean, it's a perfect title. It lets everybody know exactly what it is they're getting. Now, yes, you can make an argument that it's a sequel to the previous Halloween. Why not? But there have been, what are you going to call it? Halloween 2? You're going to call it Halloween, hyphen, he's back again for the first time? I mean, look, I'm not saying that Halloween is the only title they could have given it, but why not call it just Halloween? It communicates to the audience exactly what it is. It's a good marketing hook. Remember, at the end of the day, the title of a movie is not an artistic thing. The title of the movie is a marketing thing. And in this case, it was actually perfect marketing. So I'd say that's why. But again, I think the bigger question would be, why not use it? But anyway, that's just me. Especially if you understand it's a marketing tool more than it is anything else. So there's that. All right. Licardo Gay writes, how about Hugh Jackman? It's funny. How about Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds for the Face Off reboot? It's funny. Somebody in the John Campea Facebook group, the John Campea Show Facebook group, the Patreon only Facebook group, which, by the way, we have a Patreon exclusive Facebook group. That's just for our Patreon supporters. So anyway, somebody earlier today put up a poster in there of Face Off, but instead of Cage and Travolta, it's got Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman on it. And I put that up on Twitter a little bit earlier. So that's great minds, man. I'd see it. I'd pay good money to see that movie, man. All right. K Major writes, Charlize Theron and Angelina Jolie for Face Off. That's a nice pairing. I'd be down for that. Again, a couple I like. I like the idea of Jamie Foxx and Chiwetel Ejiofor. I love that one. I love the idea of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Terry Crews. I'd be totally down for that. Obviously, the Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds one. But Charlize Theron, Angelina Jolie, sign me up, man. Sign me up. I'm down for it. James Tennant writes, top 5 favorite movies. Number 1, Rocky. Yes, I don't think I've seen that on a list yet. A lot of people forget that won Academy Awards. Anyway, number 2, The Dark Knight. Number 3, Django Unchained. Love Django. Number 4, The Wolf of Wall Street. Nice. And number 5, Avengers: Infinity War. Nice. You got some Tarantino in there. You got some comic book movie there. You got an older classic one in Rocky 2. Very nice list, James. I like it. All right. Rudeboy Phi writes, great show, folks. Thank you so much, Rudeboy. I appreciate that, man. My top 10 movies in any order. RoboCop, nice. I'm going to assume you mean the original. Although, you know what? I didn't mind the reboot. I'll tell you straight up, I didn't mind the reboot. The one with Joel Kinnaman and Michael Keaton. I actually thought the reboot was a pretty decent little movie. I really do. It wasn't, as good as the original, but I thought it was a pretty good movie on its own right. But anyway, Predator, The Lost Boys. Remember Amazon was trying to get a Lost Boys series going again? That fell apart. Maybe they can get it going in, but I love Lost Boys. National Lampoon's Vacation, the original Star Wars trilogy, The Last Emperor, The Last Action Hero, thrown in an Arnold movie there, The Golden Child. Everybody hates The Golden Child. Purge me. I must be purged. It's one of my favorite Eddie Murphy films. I say that without bashfulness, whatever. Maybe it's a guilty pleasure, but I love that movie. One of my favorite Eddie films. Anyway, Demolition Man and Teen Wolf. Again, got a number of them in there, Rudeboy, that I have not seen other people mention. Certainly haven't seen Golden Child on any list. Haven't seen Demolition Man on any list. Haven't seen Teen Wolf on any list. There you go, man. Nice. Good on you for mixing that one up. I like it. All right. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, how about that new Lighthouse trailer? This movie just looks more and more fascinating. It's funny. Me and Robert were talking about that new Lighthouse trailer. Here's the thing. While it is totally fascinating to me, I can't help but wonder, and I'm fascinated by it because, look, first of all, you get the director who's directing it, you get the 2 stars who are starring in it, you're going to get me interested, so I'm interested. And understanding that this very stylistic sort of trailers they're putting out appeals to me My worry, though, is that those very trailers are probably also turning a lot of people off. Like, they're appealing to me and I like them, and it makes me kind of interested and fascinated in seeing this movie, but it's also very weird, right? And weird works for me, but I know it doesn't work for everybody. And I can't help but wonder, Razor's Edge, if the elements they're using in these trailers that are making them appeal to me might be the exact same things that turn other people off of them. So I'm going to be curious. Now, obviously, this movie, Lighthouse, is not been made to make $400 million at the box office. Let's just be clear. Obviously, they didn't make this movie thinking they're going to make $350 million or $400 million at the box office, right? But I am still curious to see if anybody's going to go see it besides me. I can't wait to see this thing. Dafoe and Pattinson? Come on. I can't wait. But I also wonder if there's going to be a lot of people that get turned off by these trailers. We'll have to wait and see. All right. David Zarnowski writes, do critics understand what kind of movie they're going to see? Entertainment Weekly said that the Joker feels too volatile and frankly too scary. Well, that's exactly the idea of the movie. Oh, okay. But, it just so happens that I have read Entertainment Weekly's review. I mean, I've been obsessed the last couple of days over reading reviews of the Joker. And first of all, do critics understand what kind of movie they're going to see? Yes, critics understand what kind of movie they're going to see. 4 out of 5 critics love the Joker. So, there's that. But here's the thing. There's 2 things you're ignoring here, David. Number one, and I can't remember the girl's name in Entertainment Weekly who wrote, it's Leah or Leah something or other. Anyway, she doesn't just say it feels too volatile and frankly too scary. She doesn't just say that. You're leaving out her qualifier, and I can't remember exactly what she wrote, but she goes, it feels a little too volatile and scary when you consider this, and this. You're only taking a segment of what she said and you're taking it out of context. So I just want to be clear about that. But the second thing is this. I often read people, when somebody says they don't like a particular movie and they give their reasons why, I reject the notion of, but that's what it's supposed to be. I don't think that's a valid defense. Now, look, let's pretend I haven't read this Entertainment Weekly review, right? Even if she just said, it feels too volatile and frankly too scary. What's saying she's not saying that while also understanding what the movie was going for? But to me, just because a movie's going for something doesn't make it good, right? Like, if I watched a movie and went, that whole movie was just 2 hours of a dude squatting over and taking a shit on a sidewalk. It was awful. Are you then going to come to me, but John, that's what they were going for. That's what the movie was meant to be. It doesn't change the fact that it's still just 2 hours of a guy squatting over and taking a shit on a sidewalk. And just because that's what they were going for, that doesn't make it good. It's crap, no pun intended. It's crap regardless of whether that's what the guy was going for or not. Somebody can feel like something is too little or too much in a movie, even if that's what the director was going for. The fact that the director was going for it does not mean it's good. It just means that that's what the director was going for, but that doesn't mean it was good, and it doesn't mean it was effective, and it doesn't mean it's going to work for people. Now, again, you know me, I'm dying to see The Joker. 4 out of 5 critics like it. I'm excited for it. Just won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival. I can't wait. I've been stoked for this movie from the day they announced it last year. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to like it. And what I would say is I reject the notion of saying, well, if somebody else didn't like it and they present their reasons, saying, but that's what they were going for, isn't a defense. Right? And by the way, just because this one person felt it was too much this or too much that, doesn't mean I'm going to think it's too much this or too much that. And it doesn't mean you're going to think it's too much this or too much that. And everybody else. But that's the subjectivity of film. Movies hit people differently and in different ways. Most other critics saw the same thing and it totally worked for them. Some critics saw it and it doesn't work for them. But that's the nature of movies. And one of the things that and I'm guilty of this too, dude, you and me both, we're in the same boat. I'm guilty of this too. One of the things that we as film fans do and it's one of the most irritating habits we have, and I catch myself doing this sometimes, to be honest, is making excuses for why other people don't think the same way we do. Like, for instance, this Joker movie, this girl says she saw it and it didn't work for this and this. Instead of just saying, well, okay, so she watched it and that's how it hit her. It didn't work for her on that level, and these are the reasons why. Instead of just accepting that, we make excuses. Well, she just didn't understand that that's what they were going for. And that's what we do it all the time. We make excuses for why other people don't see things the same way we do, instead of just accepting that that's the nature of movies. Not everybody's going to love Star Wars. Not everybody's going to love Avengers. Not everybody's going to love Godfather. Not everybody's going to love Cool as Ice with Vanilla Ice, which I contend is the best bad movie ever made. But yeah, man. So she didn't like it. To her, even understanding what it was they were going for, that critic clearly still felt it went a little bit too much in a certain way for the movie to work. That doesn't mean I'm going to feel that way. It doesn't mean you're going to feel that way, but you got to respect other people's opinions. And not make excuses and make things up for why they don't see the things the way we want them to see them, right? That's the nature of movies, man. It's the subjective nature of movies, and we just got to be okay with that. We got to be okay with that and then move on. So, and again, like I said, man, I'm not coming down on you for this. We're all guilty of it. All film fans do this, me included. But it's just one of these things that I feel like I really want to try to catch myself when I do it. And I want us as film fans to start catching ourselves more when we do that as well. But regardless of anybody else who didn't like it, I am dying to see Joker. I cannot wait, personally, man. I'm sure you feel the same way, David. All right. Let's see here. Jay Zion 23 writes, top 10, Star Wars, the originals, Lord of the Rings trilogy, Man on Fire. That one's been brought up a couple of times. Some good Denzel in there. Man of Steel. Thank God other people put in Man of Steel. To me, the most underrated comic book movie of all time. Infinity War, The Dark Knight, Goodfellas, Godfather, Gladiator, Avatar. Prime list, man. I like that list. Some very predictable ones are good. Some very predictable ones like Godfather, Dark Knight, things like that. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Some little dark horse ones in there. Man of Steel, Man on Fire. I like it, man. I like a good list, Jay Zion. All right. The Richard writes, aloha, guys from Honolulu. I've never been to Hawaii. I've got to go sometime. Anne keeps trying to get me to go to Hawaii. I got to go sometime. Sharing your brilliance with the islands. Well, thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate that, dude. And thanks for being here, man. All right. Andy Nguyen writes, The Raid 2, Big Trouble. I think we're talking about favorites again. The Raid 2, Big Trouble in Little China. There you go, man. Jack. True Lies, my all-time favorite action film. City of God, Old Boy, the Korean. Thank you for clarifying the Korean version. Josh Brolin one, not so good. Rosemary's Baby, Gladiator, Goodfellas, Fight Club, and Bloodsport. You will be next. It's one of the greatest movies ever, man. Bloodsport. When he goes blind. Anyway, Michael Hoover writes, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the King, Shawshank, obviously one of the greatest films ever made, Inception, That Thing You Do, that's the first. I don't think we've seen That Thing You Do on a list yet. Jurassic Park, Lion King, Count of Monte Cristo, Princess Bride, I love The Princess Bride, and Hook. I'm glad to see a couple of people put Hook on there. I am still flabbergasted. Flabbergasted, I tell you. When I hear so many people crap talk Hook. I love Hook. Unabashedly, I love Hook. And me and Robert Meyer Burnett will get into it all the time because he does not like Hook at all. He calls it the worst Steven Spielberg film. I think it's great. I love it. Makes my heart happy, Michael, to see you put it on your list, my friend. All right. Dill Aberts writes, Ben Affleck trilogy or a Henry Cavill Superman trilogy? I'm assuming you mean which would I prefer. You know what? My favorite movie out of all the movies that Ben Affleck has been Batman in and Henry Cavill has been Superman in, my favorite one is Man of Steel. I think to this day it is the best DCEU movie they've made so far. I think the second best was Shazam. That movie's fabulous. But is Man of Steel. So on that basis, because Affleck is my favorite Batman to date, and Henry Cavill is my favorite Superman to date. So on the basis of my favorite movie involving either of them as Batman and Superman is Man of Steel, I'm going to go Superman trilogy. I might change my mind tomorrow, but for now I'm going to go Superman trilogy. Good question, man. Frankie Gouge writes, believe it or not, compliance has an $89 Rotten Tomato score. Not a lot of people. See, everybody's looking for percentages. Not a lot of people understand how powerful it is to have a dollar score. Yeah, 89%. Again, that movie came up earlier today, and I don't know if it was you, Frankie, that brought up Compliance or not, but it sounds, that's one I've not seen. And we talked about it earlier, but I am fascinated by that. The sound of it sounded creepy and terrifying, but really, I mean, intense. I got to see it at some point. But an 89, I'm going to assume you mean percent on Rotten Tomato score. That sounds believable to me. All right, Adam Douglas writes, Apple TV Plus only $4.99 a month. Yeah, I heard about that earlier. That's a great price, but there's nothing on it I'm interested in seeing. That's the problem. Right now, there's really not a lot there I'm interested in seeing. Like there's the Jason Momoa show that imagines, I think he's like supposed to be the one guy in the world who can see and the rest of the world is blind. I think that was it. You got a Jennifer Aniston show. You've got, a Steve Carell show. I just, there's nothing there right now that's jumping off the screen and saying, oh my God, I got to watch this. You know, Amazon has shows that do that. Hulu has shows that do that. Disney Plus has upcoming shows that are going to do that. Netflix has shows that do that. I just don't know that I'm seeing anything yet on the Apple TV thing that $4.99 a month is an amazing price. And apparently they're even saying you get 1 year free if you buy an Apple product. But even at $5 a month, that just means it's $60 a year. So it's no big deal, but still. So they're really going to try to get people on board with this Apple TV thing. It's just hard for me to get excited about it, even at that price point right now, when there's not a lot of content there that I'm excited about off the bat, you know? So, you know, I look at Netflix and I see all this content I'm really excited about, whether it's Bodyguard or, you know, whether it was like their old DC or their old Marvel stuff, or like they got a lot of shows that are really damn good. They got, you know, Dark Crystal on there, and, you know, I just things that really excite me, and I'm not seeing that yet for Apple Plus. Maybe that'll change. But hey, you can at least say they're coming in very competitively. $5 a month, that's pretty competitive pricing. All right, Heston Roberts, following up what he just said, Apple TV Plus, $5 on November 1st, free year trial with purchase. It's, again, good price point, very competitive. Just don't know if I see the value there yet if there's no shows I want to watch. I mean, that's great if you're offering me a dinner for $2. Great. But if all dinner is a big plate of blades of grass, yeah, it's dinner for $2, but is it a dinner I want? So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Dawn is writing, same follow-up. Just announced Apple TV Plus is $5 a month, 1 year free with Apple product purchase. We'll just have to see. Hopefully, I can get turned on to the content that they're producing. Hopefully. Valhalla Erickson writes, do you feel the DC films taking a standalone approach is the right way to go, or should it take a more MCU direction like the Arrowverse? I think, listen, they tried to do it one way, and it clearly didn't work for them, right? It did not work out the way they wanted it to work. So right now, Walter Hamada's got them going in a different direction. And the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. It's working. You had Aquaman come out, which is a nice, entertaining film. And by the way, it made $1 billion. Even though I didn't even think it would make $800 million. It made $1 billion. They followed that up with, I believe, the second best movie they've ever done in the DCU, which is Shazam. That movie's fantastic. I eat that movie up. I love that movie. So they did that. Now you got Wonder Woman 84 coming out, which if Patty Jenkins is directing it, I'm just going to assume it's going to be as good as the first one. So that'll be 3 wins in a row. The big question mark right now is this Birds of Prey movie. I don't have a lot of hope for that one, but hopefully that can turn around. But I think, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. It's working. What they're doing right now is working. Their first $1 billion film, one of their best films was Shazam. We got Wonder Woman 84 coming out. It's working. So, yeah, I feel like right now, considering looking at the evidence that it's working out for them, I feel like right now, Walter Hamada's got them going in a good direction. I mean, they might not always stay that way, but right now I feel like they're going in a good direction. Scott Bristow writes, face off with Erin Cummings and Margot Robbie. I'd pay to see that. Damn right. By the way, Erin Cummings, she's look, she's not one of the stars. Like Erin Cummings has been trying to keep like hammering this home whenever we bring up All Rise, her new series on CBS. She's not one of the lead characters. She keeps telling she's a recurring character. She's a recurring character, which means she's not on every episode. She's not a main character. She has a recurring character, which means she'll be in several episodes in the season. And she is in the premiere episode. I think she said it's the 23rd. So like less than 2 weeks from now, the first episode of All Rise on CBS with Erin Cummings is coming. So she's not one of the big stars. She keeps she said it again today. I've got a recurring role in this show. I have a recurring role in this show. So, but I'm very excited for her because I don't have anything on CBS. So I'm really excited for her that she's got her new CBS show coming, which is great. Ben Rayner writes, Maggie Smith looked older in Hook in 1991 than she did in Harry Potter in 2001. Both in my top 10. Loved her as Wendy and Professor McGonagall. Well, I remember though, also in Hook, she was supposed to be a much older Wendy, right? So I think what they did with her in Hook is just it purposely made her look older and made her sound a bit older. So I think that was by design. I don't think she really looked as old as she did in Hook in real life at that time. I think they probably accentuated that because Wendy was supposed to be really old, right? And Maggie Smith wasn't super old at the time, so they made her up to look like that. And she's great. I love Maggie Smith. And that, I'll tell you what, when my wife would have Downton Abbey on and I'd watch it, whenever Maggie Smith was on screen, it was worth watching. She's fire on that show, like absolutely fire on that show. I could watch, if somebody would put together just a video of all the Maggie Smith scenes in Downton Abbey, and it was like 2 hours long, I would watch the hell out of that because Maggie Smith rules in Downton Abbey, and she just rules in life, man. All right. Nikolai Cosman writes, do you think Disney Plus will sell Mandalorian to Netflix or HBO Go to regions from Eastern Europe to avoid piracy? Disney Plus will be in October of 2020 in the EU. I've been speculating that, Nikolai. I've been speculating that. I don't know. But, the precedent is like something like CBS All Access. CBS All Access in the United States is a, streaming service. And they have a show that is exclusively to CBS All Access called Star Trek Discovery, which I love. But CBS All Access isn't in other countries. So does nobody else get to have does nobody else get to watch Star Trek Discovery since CBS All Access is in their countries? No. What CBS All Access does is they license out Star Trek Discovery in other countries to be on streaming services they do have. So Netflix Germany will pay CBS All Access a licensing fee to be able to show Star Trek Discovery in that territory. Will Disney Plus do the same? Maybe. I really hope, for the sake of my film fan loving brothers and sisters around the world and Star Wars loving brothers and sisters around the world, that they do come to they were able to work it out. Now, somebody else pointed out a really good point to me the other day as well, said that, Disney owns existing streaming networks around the world in different countries right now. Somebody keeps bringing up in India, they own a service called Hotstar, which is like $5 a month. And apparently they're going to have all the Disney Plus content is going to be on Hotstar. So some countries are going to have it because Disney already has some outlet to display things. I am hoping, though, Nikolai, that what you're suggesting is the case. I hope they will license it out to other networks in certain countries that don't have Disney Plus at launch so everybody can watch it and hopefully combat the piracy. Here's hoping. Daryl Pagram writes, what about Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon because of the series Bourne Identity for Face Off film? Nah, I mean, like the very fact that you just pair them up, like Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon in a Bourne movie, that I can see. But just because they're together in one movie doesn't mean you should bring them over into another. So I'm going to disagree with you on that. But I'll tell you what, when I saw the Jeremy Renner one, it's like, shouldn't you do one with Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon? Like, shouldn't you do a Bourne movie? Shouldn't you do one last one? I'll tell you what, I didn't like the last Bourne movie. And I like the Bourne series. I didn't like this last one. But maybe you should do one more and do it with Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon. I think that one would do pretty well. You put both of them in there, I think that one would do pretty well. Anyway, Rasmus Johansson writes, one of two. Hey, John, saw that the man from Majorca, which you were telling me about a little bit earlier today, is alternatively spelled the man from Mallorca. I tried to find an English DVD of it, but there is none. The film is available on YouTube, though, with subtitles. If you search for the Swedish title, Mannen från Mallorca, if you get around, I'm sure I mispronounced that. If you get around to seeing it, it would be awesome to hear your thoughts. Love the show. Well, thank you so much, Rasmus. You know what? Maybe one of these days I will check that out. Now, look, I am notoriously way behind on things that I need to see. Way behind, especially television stuff. And I don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of stuff that's older. But the way you describe that, I'm not going to lie to you. I just might one of these days pop that on. Because the way you described it on the show earlier today frankly, it sounded really good. I'm a sucker for those types of movies and those cop kind of movies, so I just might have to take you up on that, man. We'll just wait and see. All right, Suthius writes, hey, Mr. C, that Transformers 6 from the viewer was just Transformers followed by a 6. Oh, to list the next movie. I was just a list. Oh, that because I remember I read that and I'm like, Transformers 6, the last night? That was terrible. But then somebody else said, maybe, but wait a minute, Transformers last night wasn't Transformers 6, that was Transformers 5. Then we were like, oh, maybe they meant Bumblebee. But you know what, Suthius? That makes much more sense. That makes much more sense because the first Transformers movie I actually really enjoy. It's all the other rest of them that are bags of crap. But anyway, thank you. I think you just fixed it. You just fixed the confusion, Suthius. Thank you for that. All right. And the final one today, and we're all caught up with this. Ben Rayner writes, Hugh and Ryan win for Face Off remake by 100%. Yeah, somebody else mentioned that a little bit earlier. I put that up on my Twitter as well. Totally love the idea. Sounds like a winner to me. Sign me up for that as well, Ben. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of what was this? Oh yeah, this is a companion video. That'll do it for this installment of a companion video. Thank you guys for being here. Listen, don't forget, the John Campea Show returns tomorrow. Me, Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr. We're going to talk about this Apple Plus thing, this Apple TV Plus thing. Is the value there? We're going to talk about that a little bit. We got some other issues that we're going to talk about as well. Make sure you come back and join us live for that tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 9 a.m. Los Angeles time. That's 12 noon East Coast time. And whatever that is, wherever you live around the world, my international friends. All right, guys, that'll do it for me for now. My name's John Campea. Thanks for being here, and until next time, bye-bye.